Hello and welcome. This is the Newsroom. It's Thursday, May 13, 2021. We're broadcasting to viewers on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarsi TV in Bartikal. These are the headlines. Millions in forged GRA checks sparks police investigation, and several persons have been arrested. The Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, says there has been an increasing number of COVID-19 deaths among the younger population than before.
We have to be mindful that this is no longer a situation where it's just older people.
Over 8,000 vehicles are registered under the PZZ series. Linden's Static blazes a multi-dimensional path in music and art. And in sport, Roger Harper says the Guyana Cricket Board is aware of CWI's criteria for contract allocation, and West Indies move ahead of South Africa in test ranking. With the news, I'm Neil Marks. We're glad you could join us. A discovery earlier this week that millions of dollars in forged checks already cashed at a local bank and purporting to have been issued by the Guyana Revenue Authority has sparked a police investigation. 3 persons have so far been arrested, as Kurt Campbell reports.
The Guyana Police Force is currently investigating a case where checks worth millions of dollars were fraudulently made out in the name of the Guyana Revenue Authority, GRA. According to police sources, the checks amounting to over $9 million were cashed at one commercial bank, but it is possible the checks were cashed at other banks. Those arrested in the case have yet to say which other banks checks were cashed at. The police are investigating possible collusion between persons within the Guyana Revenue Authority, bank employees and others. But the GRA, which initiated the investigation, has denied that it was the source of the fraud. When contacted on Thursday, Commissioner General of the Guyana Revenue Authority, Godfrey Stacia, first clarified that there was no fraud at the Revenue Authority. He said GRA has all of the original checks in its possession. He explained that what the GRA has found is that forgers have been encashing checks at certain banks that have been purportedly issued by the Revenue Agency. Stacia clarified that all checks issued by the Guyana Revenue Authority are stamped not negotiable. He has disassociated the GRA. This means that the checks in questions were cashed by the banks, which shows some level of collusion between forgers and bank employees. GRA's checks are issued by the Bank of Guyana, and we have the said number checks still in our possession, the Commissioner General told the Newsroom. The Newsroom understands that a man and 2 women are currently in custody at the Brigdam Police Station.
President Irfan Ali has paid tribute to career public servant Vic Prasad, who provided protocol duties to 9 presidents, including himself. In a statement, the president said it was with deep sadness that he learned of the passing of Mr. Prasad, whose full name was Ishwar Vivekanand Prasad. The president said Uncle Vic, as he was also adoringly and respectfully referred to, has been an institution within the country's public service. According to President Ali, Prasad provided more than 60 years of unbroken service to the country as an accountant, foreign service officer, and as chief of protocol and advisor on protocol affairs. The president added that Vic Prasad had the distinction of providing protocol duties to 9 executive presidents, including himself, Mr. Forbes Burnham, Mr. Desmond Hoyd, Dr. Chadi Jagan, Mr. Samuel Hines, Mrs. Janet Jagan, Dr. Barrow Jagdio, Mr. Donald Ramater, and Mr. David Granger. President Ali said Guyana has lost an outstanding public servant, and the office of the president has lost one of its most beloved and respected stalwarts. With a significant number of COVID-19 deaths recorded recently, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony has said that there has been an increasing number of these deaths among the younger population than before. According to the Health Minister, the pattern of COVID-19 hospitalizations and deaths have been shifting from older people, many of whom are vaccinated, to younger people.
Initially, when we start monitoring this, we noticed that older people with a lot of comorbidities were more at risk, and therefore they become sick very quickly. They get into the hospital, and a lot of them end up in the ICU. And some of them, unfortunately, would die. That pattern is changing because what we've noticed now is about 63% of our over 60 population has now been vaccinated, at least with the first dose of the vaccine. And we'll encourage all of those who got their first dose to make sure that they get their second dose of the vaccine. Because unless you have both doses, you're not going to be fully protected. Now, what we have noticed over the last couple of weeks is that we have seen a change in the mortality patterns, because we're seeing persons who are between 50 and 40. We've seen quite a few cases in that age category. We have had a few cases in the 40 to 30 age category, and we have had about 3 cases in the 30 to 20 age category. So we have to be mindful that this is no longer a situation where it's just older people. We're seeing different ages. And this is something, a trend that has also been observed globally. So it's something that we have to be mindful of. And if younger people or more active persons thought that they would only get the milder form of the disease, well, now, I mean, the new information that we are getting should tell people to be more cautious.
In a previous COVID-19 update, Dr. Anthony explained that vaccination would reduce the severity of the disease an individual may be diagnosed with, though they do not prevent an individual from becoming infected. Additionally, public health measures such as wearing a mask, maintaining social distance, and constant sanitization would help to prevent transmission of the virus that causes the disease, COVID-19. For the month of March alone, there have been 33 deaths thus far. Of that number, 13 were over 40 years old but less than 60. There has been 1 death, 34 years old, recorded in the 30 to 40 age group, and another death, 29 years old, recorded in the 20 to 30 age group. Meanwhile, 18 deaths have been recorded for people aged 60 or older. Minister of Labour Joseph Hamilton has confirmed that Innovative Mining Incorporated, a medium-scale mining joint venture between Russians and Guyanese, has admitted to committing several labour infractions and has promised to correct them. Shiki Madeh reports.
A joint venture operation between Russians and Guyanese Innovative Mining Corporation has accepted culpability of several labour breaches and committed to the Minister of Labour Joseph Hamilton that they will be corrected. The company executives were summoned to a meeting with the minister on Wednesday after complaints were lodged by miners regarding the payment of wages, overtime, and the granting of leave. Providing an update on the meeting on Thursday was the Labour Minister, Joseph Hamilton, who spoke with the newsroom via telephone.
I dealt specifically with the issue of overtime, the issue of leave, the issue of the breach of the labor laws. They acknowledge there's a breach because people work on 12 hours a day and they're not paid overtime. They're paid one sum of $8,000 a day. So
now that the infractions have been confirmed, the minister said the Labour Department will be working with the company to ensure that it falls in conformity with the law. If not, actions would soon follow. When asked what the penalty for committing such breaches to Guyana's labour laws, the minister said the fine might not be as substantial as it should be.
The Labour Department will continue to work with them to ensure that they regularize, and we will take the necessary action. I want to visit there, but as I understand it, it's a difficult place to get to presently. Because you only get there presently via helicopter that apparently the company is utilizing via air services because the road is impassable.
Meanwhile, investigations into the assault on a cook employed at the company by a Russian security official is still ongoing. A video of the incident surfaced on Facebook last week and showed a Russian national holding the cook in a chokehold. The newsroom understands that the cook was exiting the compound and was asked to subject himself to a search, as is the practice at the site. The newsroom further understands that someone had tipped off security that the cook was smuggling gold, which was later found in a bottle of what appeared to be skin cream. The gold was later melted and weighed 11.3 grams. The altercation took place when the cook reportedly refused to be searched. For the newsroom, Shakima Day reporting.
Still ahead on the newsroom, over 8,000 vehicles registered under the PZZ series, and Region 6 is leading the COVID-19 vaccination rollout, but Region 10 is still lagging behind. Back, this is the newsroom. The Guyana Revenue Authority has registered over 8,000 privately owned and operated vehicles under the PZZ registration series in the past 8 months alone. With that series nearing an end, the GRA will soon be registering vehicles under a new series identified by GRA as PAB. The current PZZ series began in September 2020 and will end when 999 vehicles have been registered under that series. A GRA official told the newsroom on Thursday that the new series, PAB, is projected to begin by July based on the current rate of registration. There are about 1,500 vehicles left to be registered under the PZZ series before it comes to a close. Meanwhile, the newsroom has also learned that the CK motorcycle series is also coming to an end. That series started in July 2019. The next motorcycle series will be CL. Now, as the COVID-19 vaccination rollout continues, Region 6 has been leading the rollout with 40% of the targeted adult population already injected with at least their first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. On the other hand, Region 10 continues to lag behind the other regions, though uptake has increased to 10%. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony provided an update on the vaccination rollout during his COVID-19 briefing on Thursday.
In terms of first dose vaccination, that is for people 18 years and over, we are currently at 161,886 persons who would have received their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. That, by our estimation, would be about 33.3% of the adult population. And in terms of the second dose, we currently have 18,526 persons who would have received their second dose of the vaccine, and we can consider them now to be fully vaccinated. In terms of regions, we continue to see a lag in Region 10. There have been a slight improvement, so they are now at 10% of their adult population. And on the other hand, in Region 6, for first dose, we have seen that Region 6 is now at 40%. In terms of testing, over the last 24 hours, we would have seen that there are 192 persons who tested positive. And when we look across the different regions, we're seeing hotspots emerging in different places in different regions. So Region 3, we continue to see cases around the Tushin area, Region 4 on the East Bank in Diamond. In Georgetown here, we're seeing cases in Kitty, some cases in Sophia and other parts of Georgetown. On the East Coast, again, some cases around the Mont Repose area. In Region 6, we've seen cases in New Amsterdam, and in Region 7, we see cases around the Bartica area. Region 10, we've seen a lot of cases in the Amila ward area. So there are different places where we have noticed increase in cases, and we continue to monitor them.
The Skeldon Energy Incorporated is set to improve its output capacity by 14 megawatts, taking it to 30 megawatts with the installation of a new transformer. Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, made this disclosure during a tour of the power plant on Wednesday.
Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, during a visit to the Skeldon Energy plant, announced additional power to come on stream in coming weeks. The additional power boost to 30 megawatts will provide more reliable energy since the plant is currently producing only 16 megawatts of power.
So that is what they're doing. It's to grow the capacity so they can put more power into the transmission lines. Well, they're just waiting on the contractors to come and commission it. They've already installed it, as you can see. The base is installed, the transformer is there, and it's only waiting on the contractors to come on board to commission it and ensure that the flow of the generated power moves smoothly into the transmission lines.
The additional megawatts of power would be added to the transmission line when the transformer is commissioned. At the close of the tour, Minister Indar said he was pleased with the job the Board of Directors is doing since the Skeldon factory was restarted.
The Board of Directors and the management of Skeldon Energy Incorporated has invited me here because they want to show the development that they've done since the restarting of the Skeldon factory, using the bagasse and other ways to produce electricity. So the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I saw it. It's working, the engines are working, and they are generating. I checked the control room, and they are generating in total between the HFO sets as well as the co-generated set, as at this moment 16 megawatts right now.
Skeldon Energy Incorporated uses buggies and other waste to produce energy. The company is co-owned by the Guyana Power and Light and the National Industrial and Commercial Investments Limited, NICIL. In addition to his visit to Skeldon, the minister also visited Maibikuri and Blackbush Polder to look at ongoing roadworks and number 63 village to observe ongoing sea defense works.
Muslims across the world engaged in a period of worship and fasting during the holy month of Ramadan, following the sighting of the moon on Wednesday night, signaling the end of the fasting period. Muslims on Thursday celebrated Eid al-Fitr with their families and close friends. Vishani Raghavir tells us more.
The Queenstown Jama Masjid in Georgetown was one of the many locations across the country where worshippers gathered to offer their prayers. On the day of Eid, after leading the gathering in prayer, President of the Guyana Islamic Trust, Sheikh Abdul Alim Rahim, explained the significance of Ramadan, the day of Eid, and the emphasis placed on charity during this period.
It is to intensify our acts of obedience and worship to God Almighty so that we come closer to Him. Our hearts become more purified, we become better people in the sight of God Almighty. And so this involves two aspects. One aspect of coming closer to God, worshiping Him more, being more obedient to Him, and the other aspect of being better in our relationships with others, learning to share more with others, to be more caring, to be more considerate, and that is why you will find people doing so much charity in the month of Ramadan, helping others in whatever way they can. So, bottom line of the month of Ramadan, this is a time of intense training for the believer to become a better person, because our success in this life, we believe, depends on having a good relationship with God Almighty and to be good servants of His. This month helps us to achieve that. The day of Eid is a day of basically celebration after this period of worship to God Almighty. It's a day of feasting and being happy and joyful because God Almighty has blessed us to complete the fasting of this month of Ramadan.
To commence the day of Eid, worshippers congregated at the Queenstown Jama Masjid on Thursday morning, offering prayers before heading home to spend time with their families.
I plan to celebrate Eid with my family due to the COVID season. I am here. And one of my greatest achievements during the month of Ramadan is that I have seen my son, who is 8 years old, would have stand up in prayers for all 20 rakat, all 29 days of fasting. He fasted for 29 days, my family, and I give thanks and praise to the Creator for that.
Well, as we all know, the protocols are in for COVID-19, so it will be basically at home with the family members. There wouldn't be too much for the fact that, of course, we can't entertain as per normal as we would do, visit other masjids, go around, meet and greet people, things like that. So we will be keeping it very basic this year, just among the family, maybe close friends, and of course, observing all the protocols.
Though Eid celebrations are constrained due to the restrictions imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic, spending time with family members and engaging in charity have been enduring traditions. Reporting for the Newsroom, I am Vishani Raghavir.
When the Newsroom returns, Lyndon's Static blazes a multi-dimensional part in music and art. This is the Newsroom. To Lyndoner Roderick Alicock, trotting along a single path is quite boring. This is certainly not his style. With the stage name Static, the 23-year-old is an entertainer, teacher, an entrepreneur, and now an artist specializing in spray painting and canvas art. To kickstart his dreams, Roderick had a strong support base who recognized his talent from the early ages and helped catapult him to success. He spoke to the newsroom at the Watuka Lodge in Linden to tell his story.
Hi, my name is Roger Kalikak. I'm 23 years of age. I'm an entertainer, an entrepreneur, a teacher by profession, and I'm also a painter and a landscaper. Well, it all started on a primary level. I was always interested in music and stuff. I started doing acting and drama at high school. So, it was kind of always there. Well, the artistic abilities, these are hidden talents I've just found due to COVID. I was always interested in the singing and entertainment. However, I started acting and stuff in secondary school. Then, due to Corona, I started painting. This was in January, so this is all new to me, but I'm really excited about it. What is important that I must make mention of is my support, especially my family and friends. I think they play a huge part in, me doing these things. Also, the naysayers that you can't do this, especially for the painting. My friends was like, Picasso, I find myself for this painting thing. So I was really excited to prove them wrong. And my baby here, this is one of my greatest work, at least in my eyes. I love it. We have emotional connection with each other. She's smiling at me right now. Well, we're not on that. We'll speak with her just in a sec. It basically started with spray painting. What had happened is that I saw a video on YouTube and then on TikTok with these guys spray painting planets and stuff like that. So I was really interested in that. I was like, I think I could do this. I had a friend, she's really interested in moons and planets. So I said, I'm just going to invest in equipment, try it out, and if it comes out good, I'm going to give it to her. And that was the case. My first attempt was great. She loved it, and she's like, you should probably make this to sell. So I invested in the materials and did just that until I moved on to this beautiful. So this painting in particular, this is the second time I attempted it. The first one, her eyes was a bit off. But as I said, I'm not a big artist. At least I wouldn't like to count myself as such. But this painting is very personal, along with the other one. But this painting, it wants to tell a story. It's open for interpretation, but I use the different colors to probably bring out her sadness, that she has a story to tell. And I wanted to use the female perspective because I think people would more lean towards that rather than if it was a man in the painting. I started the teaching profession 2.5 years ago. It all has to do with my main goal. My personal goal in life is a general, I want to inspire people. I want to be this change in the world. I don't know how I'm going to go about doing it, but I don't think doing one thing is going to get me there. I want to reach people and reach out, and then it's like kids. And I was inspired by a few teachers that pushed me during my educational career or life. For the extra buck, I have a lot of goals that need financing, so I don't like handouts. I prefer exchange services, hence why I do the painting, my wee job, along with my profession. Just do it. That's a big issue. Just do it. There will be naysayers. Use that as a motivation. It's a big thing for me. I love when people say, I can't do something. It's my motivation. If you have a dream or a goal, go for it. It's not impossible. People used to say being a singer, a rapper, or whatever in Guyana, it's not going to make it. I think that I did it well, and I'm still doing it. So don't worry with the negative things that people have to say. Use that as a motivation and push forward. It can be done. You could be anything you want to be. Trust me, it's possible.
The financial weather and bridge reports along with sport is up next. You're watching the newsroom. It's time for sport, and we begin with cricket. Cricket West Indies chairman of selectors Roger Harper has indicated that the Guyana Cricket Board is aware of the requisite criteria used for the allocation of CWI retainer contracts. GCB had recently issued a press release stating that they will be investigating the selection criteria after no Guyanese male was given a retainer contract for 2021 to 2022. More details in this Akeem Green report.
On May 5th, Cricket West Indies announced 18 retainer contracts for males, and the Guyanese trio of batsmen Sherman Hetmeyer and all-rounders Kimo Paul and Romario Shepherd did not make the list after holding contracts the previous year. The GCB highlighted concerns over the omission of these three players along with Rasami Pramal from the list. According to the GCB release, open quote, the GCB is not aware or was not informed of the criteria used for the award of international retainer contracts, nor were any reasons given for the non-award of international retainer contracts to these four players. End quote. Harper is also a technocrat member of the Guyana Cricket Board Executive, which took office on March 29, 2021. GCB President Bisun Diyal Singh and Vice President Hilbert Foster are member directors to CWI, and according to Harper, the CWI directors are aware of the criteria. According to Cricket West Indies, the duo were duly elected along with 10 others to serve as member directors of CWI at a virtual AGM held on April 11th. He made his revelation on Wednesday evening while speaking on the Sean Devers Sports Watch, which is aired on Kaitra Radio.
Before the list of contracted players made public, it is presented to the board, CWI Board of Directors, right? And the Board of Directors includes 2 directors from each territory. Reasons are presented for awarding contracts to each player. There's a reason presented for each player getting a contract, and there's a reason presented for each player who didn't get a contract that was uncontracted the year before, right? And Guyana had 2 directors at that meeting as well. So I think you need to ask the Guyana Cricket Board the question directly. The Director of Cricket, Mr. Jimmy Adams, along with myself, made that presentation. So, you know, opportunities were there for them to ask whatever questions they needed to ask. And I think as a new board, right, what you need to do is try and make sure you get a feel with the way things work, with criteria and things in place, and then take it from there. There's no quota system which says that each territory should get so many contracts. I don't think, you see, if we look at these things in detail, Sheldon Cottrell had an A+ contract the year before. He doesn't have a contract. The former, the now test captain in Craig Brathwaite, he was vice captain, and last year he didn't have a contract, right? So I find it strange that people are thinking it something personal that Guyana doesn't have any people contracted, right? This is nothing unique to Guyana. People have lost their contracts for various reasons, right? It just happens in this case that it just worked out that no one got a contract from Guyana for various reasons, and some of them their own making.
Appearing on the Barbadian radio program Mason and Guests on Tuesday, Harper also stated that those Guyana Cricket Board members who are directors at CWI are aware of the criteria. On that show, the lead selector said he is also hopeful for some changes to the selection policy. A total of 18 players have been offered contracts for the upcoming 2021-2022 season, which runs from July 1st, 2021 to June 30, 2022. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
The West Indies team has made a significant move up the International Cricket Council's Test match rankings following the release of the latest rankings on Thursday. West Indies moved up 2 places to 6th place, leapfrogging South Africa and Sri Lanka. West Indies are on 84 points ahead of South Africa on 80 and Sri Lanka on 78. India leads the rankings on 121 with New Zealand 120, England 109, Australia 108 and Pakistan 94. Test captain Craig Brathwaite was full of praise for his players and support staff. He said this is the beginning of the climb towards higher rankings. The ICC player rankings also unveiled. Jason Holder remains the #1 Test all-rounder and is also West Indies' highest ranked Test bowler at number 8. Kemar Roach is the next highest at number 12. President of the Guyana Amateur Swimming Association, Dwayne Scott, is confident that 16-year-old Leon Seaton Jr. is a very promising prospect for the sport in Guyana. Seaton Jr. was competing against Andrew Fowler for a spot at the Tokyo Olympic Games, but the latter got the nod after acquiring more FINA points. Scott still believes that Seaton Jr. has what it takes to qualify for future Olympic Games.
We're trying to make sure that what we send there is the fittest athlete who can put up the best qualification and represent Guyana well. We are confident that Mr. Fowler will do so, and we're even confident that Mr. Leon Seaton would have done really well for us too. But the future is bright for Mr. Seaton. He's still young. We felt it was immature of us to put a young athlete on that stage, because based on his current performances and the numbers he's putting up, we are convinced that over time, moving into the next Olympic, with his growth trajectory and his performances, we believe that he can actually qualify. And our goal is not to want to use the universality position for future athletes, but to work towards having them qualify.
Seaton Jr. along with Alika Prasad and Fowler will depart on May 18th for Puerto Rico for a Guyana meet from May 20th to the 24th. For Seaton Jr. and Prasad, their presence are for developmental purposes, while for Fowler, this is further preparation for the Olympics. For the Newsroom, Akim Green.
Former Guyana Amazon Warriors and Jamaica Talawas player Stephen Jacobs strongly believes the time is right for fellow Guyanese Shimron Hetmeyer to lead the Warriors in the Hero Caribbean Premier League. The 24-year-old Hetmeyer is one of 6 Guyanese retained by the franchise ahead of the 2021 Players Draft. Jacobs made this disclosure in a recent exclusive interview with the Newsroom's Akim Green.
I think it's time for Hetmeyer to lead and be the leader he is. He's captain of West Indies on 19th World Cup. I think it's time to give him that responsibility, that captaincy responsibility for the Warriors to step to that another level. I think that will probably help him. I mean, we see the type of performances Hetmeyer is capable of, and we continuously see it, right? We just think now it's time. He's probably about 24, 25. So give him that responsibility. I think he's ready for it, right? And we know what he's capable of. Give him that responsibility and let us see what will happen.
The Barbados Tridents have announced they have opted to retain 9 players for the 2021 Hero Caribbean Premier League, which gets underway on August 28 in St. Kitts and Nevis. More details in this report.
The Tridents welcome back world's #1 rated Test all-rounder and Tridents captain Jason Holder, along with fellow Barbadians Shea Hope, Kyle Mears, Ramon Reefer, Justin Greaves, Naeem Young, and Joshua Bishop. In addition to the local playing contingent, the Tridents have retained opening batsman Johnson Charles and leg spinner Hayden Walls Jr., who was a player of the tournament when the Tridents claimed the Hero CPL title in 2019. Tridents have 8 spots left to fill in their squad, and the remaining players will be announced in the coming weeks. According to Kalish Prasandani, Barbados Tridents co-CEO, open quote, "We are really excited to welcome back our retained players and especially look forward to making Barbados and all Tridents fans very proud of our upcoming 2021 season. Our primary driving factor is the Barbados Tridents family, which comprises of our players, their extended families, and all the fans across the globe. This, together with our love and passion for the game of cricket, will enable us to bring the Hero CPL 2021 title back home as we did in 2019. End quote. In the 8 editions of the CPL, Tridents have won the title twice, last of which was when they defeated Guyana Amazon Warriors in the 2019 final. For the Newsroom, Akim Green.
That's our broadcast this evening. I'm Neil Marks. Remember, you can get the latest breaking news and sport at newsroom.gy. Take care.